Fire can be a useful tool, but it can also be deadly. The American West is no stranger to wildfires, but how did the native people handle them? What stories are inside of these walls? Today, we'll get into some of those stories, even though they might be tragic. The Salmon Ruins are located in Bloomfield, New Mexico, right off of Highway 64. This ruin typically gets overshadowed by other ones in the area, since the Four Corners region of this American Southwest contains thousands of archaeological sites. You'll start your journey here by walking through the amazing museum full of artifacts. You'll definitely want to walk through here first before you visit the ruin. Now you may be thinking that this is a national park or national monument of some sort, but you'd be wrong. This is actually ran by the San Juan County Museum Association, which is a non-profit organization that does not get any federal or state money. All of the funding comes from entrance fees, private tours, gift shop sales, and donations from members and visitors. And what's great about this site is you're not just getting to see the Salmon Ruins. You also get to see the original salmon homestead, as well as some of these other things that they have down below showing native life. To reach the ruin, you do have to go down this steep little path from the museum. There is a roadway that apparently is open sometimes, and when we were there, they had it closed for administrative use only. This ramp is rather steep, so keep in mind that you do have to walk all the way back up it. Now, they've been really thoughtful about this and have signs pointing to where the ruins are. They do also provide you a free little map guide that is also available for purchase in the gift shop. So our exploration for today is we're going to be starting with the ruins themselves because that's what we're most interested in, and then we'll be going to the other sites as we have time. As you pass by the old homestead, you'll keep continuing straight until you reach the ruins. The path is pretty obvious and well marked. In the guidebook they provide you, they have numbers that correspond to a ton of the other numbers you'll be seeing on this trail, such as this one. Marker number 1 talks about the construction of this site. Now, if you visit other ruin sites over the years, you'll notice that this masonry is quite different. This is known as the Chacoan style masonry, similar to that in Chaco Canyon, which is about 45 miles to the south of here. And similar to Chaco is a lot of these walls were placed purposely. Researchers have found that most of these match up with astronomical observations, just like Chaco Canyon. So let's talk more about these walls. Tubular sandstone blocks were carefully cut to the desired fit with their skilled masons. These precise blocks were used to build the veneer, which is what you see on the outside, and then they were filled in. Look how thick that wall is. These are definitely different than the Mesa Verde walls most people are familiar with. Now what's cool is this room is called the bowling alley. Archaeologists nicknamed it that because of it's so long and unusual. What's even more weird about this site is nothing was found in this room, so that adds to the mystery of it. Unlike room 2, this room 3 had numerous artifacts that were found in it. Some items were about 6 manos and a few metates as well, along with several large corrugated pots. So why wasn't the bowling alley having anything in it? What do you think it was used for? According to archaeologists, the ruin itself was built around 1088 to 1090 AD, and they lived here until around 1280 AD. The structure itself and the artifacts show a clear architectural and cultural relationship to those in Chaco Canyon. This has now become, because of that relationship, known as a Chacoan outlier. Now this may surprise you, but this room is probably my favorite. Number 6. This large rectangular room is unique because of the number of small trash mounds it contained when they discovered it. The second story that is no longer here was extensively used for milling grains and cooking. The room underneath of it was known as the trash room. They found what they believe is over 100 years of trash. And when they found it, it was almost completely filled. After visiting the awesome trash room, you'll actually climb up a little bit and you are actually at the height of the second story. From this vantage point, you can see everything, including the entire plaza for Salmon Ruin. Apparently there was a kiva, and it was built. This room specifically was built as a support structure.
There's a kiva again.
The ceremonial room, the round thing.
There, then.
Yeah. So all the stuff in here is built as support.
They had other things.
Of course there were, but
built something that.
Right, exactly. So this room is one of the most important in the entire structure, and also the most difficult for archaeologists to interpret. In 2008, experimental archaeology and modern photography helped solve the riddle. A replica altar you see here was set up in the precise location where it was excavated back in the 1978. On June 21st, a series of time-lapse photographs were taken between sunrise and noon in the altar area. It was discovered that the small opening located at the top of the first-story room was actually a window that allowed a beam of light to enter it. When the beam of light finally reached the altar, it briefly illuminated one of the objects and then disappeared as the angle of the sun became too high. This light phenomena was observable for several days before and after the solstice. Further studies have investigated lunar phenomena as well, which during the full moon illuminate the altar in specific ways. So this room is pretty neat. Now, with any great civilization, there's always a tragedy or two. However, this one I would say takes the cake. Marker 17 tells you about the Tower Kiva. This was one of the most important rooms because it is theorized that the entire facility was built around this kiva. In fact, this kiva was so important that even after the Salmon Ruin was abandoned, other inhabitants were said to use this structure continuously. But what archaeologists learned about this kiva is quite interesting. During the excavation of the site, portions of a painted plaster kiva mural were revealed. But sadly, most of it had been damaged due to fire. Back in 1280 AD, the Salmon Pueblo had a catastrophic fire. Of course, this wasn't the first fire to take place at the Salmon Pueblo, but it was the most devastating. A large number of the inhabitants were killed and many of the rooms were destroyed. It was discovered during this excavation that the remains of burnt food items were on the floor of the kiva, included squash, piña nuts, beans, corn, prickly pear pads. So it would appear that the fire took place sometime after the fall harvest. The survivors of the fire gathered their dead, namely 21 children and 4 adults, and they put them into what was left of Tower Kiva and performed a cremation ceremony. Others who didn't die in Tower Kiva, they were placed into other rooms throughout Salmon Ruin. What a tragic story. As you walk through these ruins, it really makes you wish you had a time machine so that you could go back and see what these people were really like. What did they do on the daily? And did that fire that killed all those people make them want to leave? There are several rooms that we didn't share with you that also have amazing stories, but these ones we shared are just a few of our favorites. If you are ever in this area, you need to step back in time and discover Salmon Ruins for yourself.